A crispy, flavorful crust is just one of the criteria we look for in an ultimate prime rib. We'll show you how to do that, plus 3 more tips to get the perfect prime rib. Stick around. Congratulations, you've decided you want to climb the mountaintop, hold up your prime rib and say, yes, the perfect prime rib. Here at the test kitchen at Certified Angus Beef, we've tested all the details to nail every component. Let's get it started.
We're starting with a full bone-in rib roast, known as a standing rib roast. Let's take a closer look. One side, known as the strip end, here you'll see the abundance of marbling. When you're selecting prime rib, choose one with plenty of little white flecks. That marbling equals flavor. Now at the other end, this is the chuck end. You'll see a couple other muscles. We have the eye, which is smaller on this end than the other. We have the little round complexus and the cap or spinalis. With a little knife work done now, we can make a beautiful presentation when it's cooked. First, I like to remove the excess fat that's at the top. Above the eye and right by the bone, cut a mark about 1 inch above the eye. Here and on the other side. Then cut a straight line from your marks all the way to the backbones. That way we'll get most of that big chunk of fat removed. Now to get even more fancy, we'll French the bones. So cut the meat away from between the bones down to match the amount we just took off. Don't worry about getting all the meat off the bone, just cut these little squares out. If there's excess fat on the top, just cut that off, rounding out the roast on this edge. Now let's get an herb crust working. Black pepper, salt, granulated garlic, not the powder, the granulated is more like sand. Some cornstarch, this will help form that crust we love. Then the dried herbs, thyme, oregano, and rosemary. For the rosemary, I'm not a fan of eating pine needles, so by crushing the dried rosemary in a mortar and pestle, we can get a coarse texture without eating those long needles. Mix that all up so it's ready to rub on the roast. Take the time to mix it evenly so all the ingredients are incorporated nicely. Totally optional here, but I like to tie the roast to keep the eye nice and round. On a prime rib, it's not completely necessary, but I'll show you how. Just cut 6 pieces of butcher twine, plenty long to tie between each bone. Tie each as tight as you can in a double knot. I like the knots to be at the base of the bones, and just cut off any excess string at the knots. Then we'll check the other side and make sure our strings are evenly placed. Line those up and adjust them if you have to. Now we can put that flavorful rub all over the roast. Do this on your large cutting board or on a sheet tray. What's important is to really rub the mixture into the roast and use as much as you can to get it to stay on the roast, including the back ribs and the sides. Now wrap it tightly in plastic wrap and refrigerate overnight. By doing this overnight, we can really get the herb flavor to travel with the salt deeper into the roast for the most robust flavor possible. All right, now we can get roasting. With your oven preheated to 275, remove the plastic wrap and line a roasting pan with foil. Place the roast insert into the pan and set the roast in the pan, bone side up. We're gonna roast this beauty gently at 275 degrees. Okay, carefully pull this out of the oven to flip. We really want uniform doneness, so with a couple sets of tongs, put the bone side down with the fat side up. We'll head back into the oven. Here's where I like to use a probe thermometer. I'll put it in one side to target the tip close to the center of the roast. Another hour or so to take the roast to 120 or 125 degrees internal temperature.
So I want to make sure I take this out temporarily and get this foil out of here. I don't want the foil to burn when I put this on high is the point. Now we've taken this at 275 gently on its roasting adventure, and now we're gonna blast the crust on top. If you notice, the cap of this ribeye starts to separate here, and I want seasoning to be throughout. So if I see a gap in that seasoning, this is my chance to add just a little bit more. So we'll put it back in the oven and crank it to 450 degrees to get the crust on the outside.
Here we go. Smells amazing. Crust looks incredible. Look at those juices dripping down the side. Let's get this to our carving board and snip the string so we can dive into it. You know, by using those strings, we're really able to keep that eye a nice round shape. Looks really robust.
I'm super excited about the results. We checked all 4 boxes, choosing the perfect roast, seasoning it properly. Uniform doneness, we're about to find out. But this crust though, take a look. Let's see what it looks like inside.
There we go. Nice medium rare all the way through. I'll slice up the rest and get a bite. For me, it's the spinalis or cap that I go to first. Little bite from here. Let's see what we've got. Oh yes.
Make sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time in the test kitchen.